So the reviews are out on the Radeon 5700 series and some of the RTX super graphics cards. And in general, everything's really positive. People are like, hey, the 5700, 5700 XT is AMD getting back to performance, being a little more competitive. You know, the RTX 2060 Super, a lot of people are saying, hey, this is kind of what NVIDIA should have released with the RTX. So this is better performance. They're getting stuff figured out. So we like this better. And so overall, everyone's thinking, hey, graphics cards, competition, good market. And I'm saying that these are actually some terrible releases. Let me explain why. So I know what you're thinking. You're like, what do you mean terrible? Isn't competition a great thing? Isn't AMD having good gaming performance a great thing? Isn't NVIDIA giving more performance a great thing? Well, yeah, in a sense, those are great things, but it only takes one major oversight to completely obsolete a lot of what would normally be considered good news. And in order to see that, we need to go through some history. So I'm going to go ahead and just overlay these graphs here so you can see them up close, but I'm going to just give you the quick overview because otherwise it just takes way too long to explain all these numbers. But in short, I went back to some of the early models from the GTX 660 to the R9 280. These are what have traditionally been mid-tier launches going all the way back to 2012. And here's what I found out. If you go back all the way up to Polaris on AMD's side with the RX 500 series, and all the way up to, you know, the GTX 1000 series of NVIDIA, you're going to see a very obvious trend. A couple of them, in fact. For one, you're going to see some reasonable performance updates, and that's nice because about every year we saw a decent performance increase. They tended to stick around, 20% on average, but, we'd see ranges from anywhere from 10 to up to even sometimes 30%. But there's another really important trend that we've got to see here. The price range on these cards basically leveled out between $200 and $300. And that right there, guys, is the huge kicker. Because when you get to the RTX 2060 series and the new 5700 series, both AMD and NVIDIA are charging $350 to $400 for these everyone's calling them mid-tier cards, and the performance increases are about on par for what we should normally expect as a generational increase, yet somehow both companies are like, you know what, you can pay an extra $100, $200 compared to what mid-range used to be. What is going on here? I feel like we're dealing with like the propane owners. It's that episode of King of the Hill where they all get together after the price war and they're like, you know what, if we all raise the prices of propane, we'll all be rolling in the dough. And they start gouging the consumers. Now, I'm sure this isn't that, but it is definitely a way higher price to pay for what should be a $200 to $300 price range. Why did $350 and $400 all of a sudden become acceptable? Why are all the reviewers saying, yeah, this is great, competition? What competition? Basically, AMD's charging roughly the same prices that NVIDIA's charging. NVIDIA is still charging $350 for their 2060. They just bumped up the 2060 Super to $400 so that they could keep charging that extra money. And so AMD, they dropped their prices $50 on each card so that they could match NVIDIA a little better, but whatever. It's still $350 and $400. Like, in my opinion, if AMD really wanted to kick NVIDIA in the teeth and remind them how this usually works, they would have priced their 5700 XT at like $329. Now that would have been still higher than the usual $200 to $300 range, but it's not that crazy high. And the 5700 could have been like a $279 card. Personally, if those two things had happened, I think we would have been looking at just a fantastic competition and a reminder to NVIDIA that, hey, just because you keep giving better in performance doesn't mean you should just start jacking up the prices. Mid-range gaming should be starting to hit 1440p 60 frames per second, not 1080 60 frames, like if things keep improving. It would be like telling gamers back when we went from 720 to 1080 that, oh, well, now that you're going up from 720, well, now you need to pay an extra $100, $200 on a graphics card to get 1080p graphics. I don't like it. And that's why I'm saying that this is a terrible launch, because this isn't helping mid-range budget gamers. This is just pinching our wallets even harder. So there you go, guys. I mean, that's what I think about it. I have no doubt you will let me know in the comments below what you think. So sound off and let me know if you think I'm onto something here. But that being said, I mean, if consumers are willing to pay these prices for these cards, I guess that's what we get then, because there's going to be no reason for AMD or NVIDIA to lower prices if that's what people keep paying. You know, the thing that bothers me too is the CPU market isn't doing this. You look at AMD's Ryzen 3000 series, and oh my gosh, we've gotten some phenomenal performance improvements over the last generation, and yet a 3600 is still like right at $200 or $210. A 3600X is $250. Like that's how it's supposed to be. What is going on with graphics cards? Why is this happening? So yeah, guys, otherwise, performance, that's awesome. It's nice to see AMD starting to get back into the game. I am happy about that. But these prices for mid-range, I think, are absurd. And I hope I'm not the only one that thinks it. Alright guys, I hope you like this rant. I can try to get some more, but as usual, like and subscribe if you want to help me out and keep me going, because then, hey, I can rant on the next thing that I think is totally out there. But hey, you know, hopefully I'll do less rants and more reviews. Hardware Hound here. I'll catch you later.